Ashley, and in today's video I'm going to be doing a wrap-up of the readathon, or the impromptu informal readathon that just ended as of the time I'm filming this video yesterday. I did not quite accomplish everything that I wanted to accomplish, which is fine because I still read more than I would have read had I not done this readathon, and I was reading more just in general than I had been previously in 2017, so for all of January and February. In my reading experience, I accomplished more than normal, but in my goals, which was to read 5 books, I did not accomplish this. But that's okay. I'm happy with reading what I read. So I'm going to let you know what I did end up reading, quickly how I felt about what I read, and what I ended up rating it. So first off, I finished the audiobook of My Lady Jane, which is written by Cynthia Hand and 2 other young adult authors. I ended up giving this 5 out of 5 stars, which is, I believe, either my first or maybe second 5-star rating this year. I thought it was great. It was exactly what I needed at the time. I had just finished reading another book that was really dark and didn't make me laugh at all, but this was fantastic. It had great historical elements that ended up teaching me about a couple names I didn't actually know already, so that was surprising. And then also had this really funny, fantastic element, this fantasy element of the Ephians, which are basically like were animals. So they're humans that can turn into animals, not just wolves, but like foxes, ferrets, rabbits, horses, dogs, birds, anything. They can turn into any kind of animal, and that was really cool. But then to top it all off, it was actually hilarious. The reader, whose name I can't remember right now, did an amazing job of doing all the different voices for both male and female. She also does a Scottish voice really well. She portrays the moments of humor that the authors wrote so perfectly. Her voice just has the right enunciation and emphasis at the right times, and it was just fantastic. But the way the authors actually wrote their humor had me laughing out loud. The entire time I read it, I was driving, and I like almost was dangerous how much I was laughing while driving, because I would like belly laugh or knee slap or all these other crazy things because I was just laughing so hard, and I can't remember the last time I laughed at a book so hard. So it is actually funny and has all these great, like I said, historical and fantasy elements. An amazing concept. The book is about the Lady Jane Grey, who was queen for 9 days and then beheaded, but is in an alternate retelling of her story and of the King Edward, who was king at the time, and it is just amazing. And each author writes one person's point of view. So the points of view are Edward, Gifford, and Jane, and each author gets one of those people. But you never know it. Like, they all did such a good job of blending the writing styles together so that it flowed and felt like it was all one author. It was seriously impressive. And like I said, I ended up giving this book 5 out of 5 stars. I also read the second book of the Parasol Protectorate series, which is Changeless, and the series is by Gail Carriger. This is a steampunk paranormal romance set in Victorian England and tells the story of Alexia Terabati, or Alexia McCone. And in this particular installment, there is this like illness going around where all of the supernatural creatures are becoming mortal again. So anytime they're in a certain radius, their supernaturalness goes away, so they become mortal again and they lose all of their physical attributes that make them supernatural. A lot of people automatically blame Alexia because she's what's called a preternatural, or a soulless. So she doesn't have any soul, whereas supernatural beings are, in this mythology, thought to have extra soul. So a lot of people are pointing fingers at her. A lot of drama goes down with her husband, Lord McCoon, who is a dreamboat but acts like a complete ass in this book. But this was really funny, just like its previous installment. I was a little bit let down because it got really sciencey at parts unnecessarily for like really big chunks, and I just skimmed most of that, and that probably isn't what the author intended, so that was unfortunate. And also, while there were really great gay and lesbian relationships represented in this book, I thought that the main romance took an unfortunate turn and kind of made me angry, but I think that's what she meant to do. So I suppose that was intended, but that doesn't mean that I have to like it. But overall, I gave this book a 3.5 out of 5 stars because I did enjoy it. I did read it really fast, and it was just a really good time and a breath of fresh air. And the last thing, yes, you heard right, the last thing, I only read 3 things for the readathon, that I read was Burial Rites by Hannah Kent. This was my book club pick for this month, and I gave this book 4.5 out of 5 stars. It was missing that half a point because the Reverend Toti, I did not like his character at all. He was weak and callow and ended up having some character development changes, but I think it was really forced the way his development changed, because I think that Hannah maybe realized that he was the weak point of her novel and thought, oh, I need to change this, and so completely changed him unexpectedly and not in a very good way. And also, it was kind of dry at times in its metaphors. It seemed a little dry and repetitive, but not often enough that I knocked like a full star off. This was nearly a 5-star book for me. I thought it was amazing and beautiful and just surprisingly well written. This was Hannah Kent's first novel, and I'm just super impressed with her abilities as an author. She describes this book as a dark love letter to Iceland because she visited Iceland in an exchange program and felt really isolated, and while she was in the program she read about the woman who's the main character of the story, Agnes, who was the last person to ever be beheaded in Iceland, and so she wrote her story, and it's just amazing because you can really tell that she loves Agnes's story and has a lot to say about it and maybe redeem Agnes about it, and she really has a lot of feelings about Iceland and the landscape of it, and Iceland is kind of a character in and of itself in this book. Like I said, it's just surprisingly well written for a first book. She wrote it when she was really, really young, and I'm just utterly blown away by her capabilities. I actually got this book signed when it first was released, so there it is, and I heard her speak about this book and her inspiration for it, and it just makes it even more impactful and impressive. And like I said, this tells the story of Agnes, who lives in Iceland, and she is put on trial for murder. She is convicted of it along with 2 other individuals who claimed to have stabbed and then set fire to 2 neighbors' houses, and her last months are spent on a farm so that she is in captivity and doesn't try to run away from her fate, which is to be beheaded. And so this is the story in particular of her lonely months on that farm, and her eventually telling her story and explaining like her history and her side of what happened. And like I said, I give this book 4.5 out of 5 stars. So that's what I read for the II Readathon. I started the week of the readathon by vlogging, but didn't have much to vlog about the first like 3.5-ish, 4 days. And then like my last couple days were interesting, but I was doing a horrible job of videoing everything, so I just gave up. So I don't have a vlog for you. I did not promise it. If you will recall, I said I'm going to try to. I did try to, but I failed. But now I know I can do it if I just stick to it and then eventually edit it and get it up. So excited for that in the future. I will eventually vlog when I get my shit together, but I do have this wrap up, so that's something. So those were the books that I read for the II Readathon, and if you guys participated in it, please let me know. I'd be super interested to see how you guys did, what you guys read. If you have any videos involving the readathon, I really want to check them out, so make sure to send me a link to your videos and your blog posts about it. Alright, thanks for watching everyone. Happy reading.